Hi, I'm gonna do a psychic reading on the actor Christian Bale. So my daughter, my teenage daughter, suggested I see American Psycho. I hadn't seen it yet, even though like I'm old enough to have seen it when it was released. But I think because it was like a scary movie, I was like, no thanks. But she said it was really good, so I was like, all right. And then I watched it, and his acting was like amazing. And then I saw an interview about how he researched his role and stuff like that. So it was impressive. And like, just, I would compare it to like a modern day Marlon Brando. Like, his acting is that good, I think. And I don't always like actors, so um, so I was happy. It was refreshing to like really like someone's performance. Sorry, my eyes water a lot. I'm not actually crying. So Christian Bale. All right. So really, like of all his stuff, I know he did the voiceover for Howl's Moving Castle, and I've seen American Psycho, and that's like I think all I know about his projects that I've seen. Like immediately what comes up is like some feminine energy taking up like space in his life. So I don't know if he has daughters or a wife or like there's like, let's say they're taking up like a third of his time. Like it's takes some effort on his part to like nurture these people. My cat is like exploring the table behind the computer, so I don't know if you can hear stuff. Hopefully he doesn't knock it all over. Okay. Okay, scooch. Bye. Bye. Like they feel like pleasant enough people, but I'm just gonna look at the differences between them. It's sort of like it's like the women are into communication, and he's like an artist. So it's like if you have only so many hours in a day. I don't know. My hair is looking really graphic today. um, the the artist might want to spend like 10 hours just kind of in their world piecing things together, like exploring something, researching something, trying stuff out. You know how like a dancer will have to train for hours in a day. It's like he wants to have that freedom to like have that time to train and stuff. But it's like the people that like the women in his life, it's like feels like feminine energy, want him to participate a lot in like their activities or like play a certain role that they've like assigned him. Like ideally people are interdependent, so you retain your independence, but you're like you can flow well together, and so you're not codependent. But I kind of feel like history, the culture that he's living in is dictating that he has to play out certain roles, and it might be because like the person he's with like likes to be seen, likes to be out and about, and like he needs to be like the whatever. Like my brain just like press delete on vocabulary right now, but yeah, like companion, thank you. So and that's stealing time. That's like stealing 2 hours that he could have spent like watching videos of different people who are interesting characters who have traits and mannerisms and things that he would like to study. So it's like he needs to carve out more time for himself, for his craft and stuff like that. And like the person he's with romantically needs to just like understand like you're dating someone who likes to study, who is a highly acclaimed, sought after craftsperson of acting. And that doesn't, you don't just, it's not like being just like a pretty boy, you wake up this way. Like it's something you have to work on and perfect. And each role is different. So it requires like whole new, it's like Stanley Kubrick needing to research Napoleon for years and make little cue cards and like decide like how he wants to tell the story and blah blah blah. Like it's like being a librarian. So it's like you're married to or dating a librarian, deal with it, and it's like maybe the time you spend together is shorter but still wonderful and done in a way that appeals to both parties. Because if you think of dating like in prehistoric times compared to now, the date would be different. And if you're a celebrity at this time, like it would involve a lot of random photography, like random people coming up to you. But like in prehistory, there weren't a lot of people. So you might not see anybody on your date. And it would be like you guys just like hunting and gathering and finding a good spot and making a fire and all these, like slow cooking, like slow, slow living, um, different kind of date. So it's like figure out how you like to date and then go on that date and really tailor it to who you are instead of like, oh, well, you're a celebrity, so you're gonna do A, B, and C. Like, not necessarily, like, especially if you want your work to be at its best. Because you don't want to say like, well, I didn't do such a great role in that movie because my wife wanted me to go to brunch, you know. Like you'd rather disappoint the brunch group and do a great job in your film. And that doesn't make you a bad person or a bad husband. I mean, if there's food on the table, what are you complaining about? This place to rest your head, and he's not being mean. Like what else do you want? So okay. Something about like sculpture and lighting, like it, like I don't know if he likes making sculpture or he appreciates certain aspects of design, but it's sort of like these spiky, like either stainless steel or silver looking, almost stark shaped or like crystalline shaped. Sorry, there's so many like notifications. Suddenly I'm busy. And then there's like points of light on them. I'm gonna just look at what that's all about. I mean, it could have something to do with like a film he's working on right now, and that's like like a design theme. I'm not sure. Um, Seems to have some relevance right now. I'll look at that. And then it feels like there's water, like or a pool or something. Yeah, like I don't know, like I don't know that much about him, but like I'll just tell you what I pick up. Like, he might be, like, an introverted extrovert. So, like, being in public, like, doing an event, it's like he can do it, like, like a high fashion model, like, he can, like, get in there and, like, catwalk or, like, make the scene. But then it's like, and then imagining yourself cocooning at home, or I don't know, like, there's, like, a his mind might be elsewhere in that, not necessarily cocooning, I'm just giving you an example, but, like, he might have a highly analytical mind, and so, like, his mind might be elsewhere in his sort of HQ, mental HQ, kinda going like, "Hmm," like like, "Here I am doing this," like, it's like life is theater, self-awareness. I mean, like, that's a good reason for everybody to take part in, like, acting or theater, because it, like, you realize, like, "Oh my god, I'm acting." Like, "Why do I move this way?" Or, it's interesting to observe your behavior from your own, like, point of view, looking at yourself, you can't really say objectively, I don't know if that's a thing, but, certainly you're not being told by friends or family how you act, like, so by having to inhabit another personality and behaviors, you're like, whether you have resistance to do that, like, you're like, "Oh, like, why am I so hung up on acting a certain way or speaking a certain way?" So it's, like, healthy for everyone to act. Trying to get back to Christian Bale. Yeah, so he has this, like, self-awareness when he's, fulfilling his role as a well-known actor. And because he's of such a high level of, uh, artistry, and not everybody is up there with him, I think he has, like, a certain number of criticisms of, like, other actors that he might have to work with, or it's just, it's like a wish list. It's like, "I wish it would be like this," or, "You could have done that," or so, which is normal, like, if you're trying to work, together in a scene and, like, someone's checked out, or they're, like, not they don't have the same working method, or, it's like being a bulldozer trying to, like, move some gravel around, like, it's, like, heavier lifting than it needs to be, it feels like. But, if he's, like, the best actor in the room, then obviously it's gonna seem more like work. It's like someone like Tom Cruise, honestly, like, it always feels like he's playing himself. Christian Bale is like he's gone, he's disappeared into the role, and it's like this other person that you can have memories about the character he played in American Psycho and really know nothing about the person. Like, the strength of his roles really stick with you, and because it's a horror movie, it's like for better or for worse. Um, but, like like, so it's not you're not like, and when you think of or when I think of Tom Cruise, I don't think of, like, the pilot hanging out at the bar still in my mind. I think of, like, the celebrity, living his life and stuff. So that's what makes Christian Bale more of, like, a Orson Welles-ish, like, Marlon Brando person, because it's like Marlon Brando, the person, is just, like, a chill guy living in Tahiti or whatever, like, don't know much about what he does on a day-to-day basis, but, like, I remember him in Streetcar Named Desire, and he's, still living in that apartment in my mind, so, um or at the bowling alley, like, causing problems, like, so, yeah, like, he would be there would be of course, some kind of artistic conflict there. I don't know if he's directed stuff too. I mean, I feel like if he hasn't already, he could direct something that has two female leads. That would be quite good. That he's not necessarily acting like he could make like a Hitchcock sort of cameo, but I don't see him as being like one of the main actors in it if he's directing. I feel like people like the manager, agent kind of people are really like trying to make a buck off him. In a way that's like not Jesus like, like it's not like total fairness or I don't know, like if he's considering getting a new management team, it might be interesting to see other points of view or other breakdowns of like who gets what. Like, certainly, he's in a position where he can pick and choose. I feel like someone was mad I said that because it's like my nose is itching now. All right, so yeah. Something about flying in planes. Again, it might be that thing of like he likes to be in public but retain some level of privacy. My eyes look really closed. I need more light. Okay. Okay. So he's on a plane and it's like he has to fly around a lot, it seems like. And it's like not his most favorite thing to do. Certainly it's convenient, time saving. He's not uncomfortable, but like, how even in first class, like you're right next to somebody else, or maybe he's not like the charter flight kind of guy. It feels more like first class. Oh my god, I'm so itchy. Okay. Or even if he's on a charter, let's say like he's with a team or like he's not flying alone, like it feels like. It could be again like just having people around him chatting a lot, and it's like you know, like, how like different species of animal, like you got to treat them differently, right? Like let's say you were sharing space with a cougar, like a wild cougar or wild black panther, like I don't know if all panthers are black, but anyway, like I'm picturing one that looks like that, and it's like there's ways to you got to maybe not have any sudden movements, maybe talk less, or like like a cobra, like just different animals that and don't get all on the well. There's no comments allowed anyway, so you can't tell me like cobra's not an animal, like or whatever. But so it's like we're all people. We're all supposed to act a certain way. We're also like there's standards of behavior, but like if you're doing something like extra special, um you might need to ask for certain things like can you my bangs look crazy. I'm at the stage where it's like do I cut them or not, and I think I'm trying to grow them out, so yes, they look crazy and that's okay. So like let's say you're on a flight with Christian Bale. How about you don't talk to give him a moment to enjoy the moment. So I just feel like, like it's like the golden rule, like do unto others as you would have done unto you. So it's like, let's say you were the famous person. Would you want everybody come up to you like, oh my God, like, this, that, and the other thing? It's like, why don't you spend the time and energy you would spend like approaching an actor, asking yourself, like, what project would I love to be in myself? And how can I go about making that happen so that I can be like telling myself in the mirror, oh my God, I loved you in that 5-minute film you just did, which fulfilled all my dreams and wishes of acting. And then let Christian Bale do his thing. Um, okay, so just like a bit of a hot mess today. Tearing, the bangs, and my dog crying in the bedroom. Like, why won't you let me bark while you do a reading? Okay, so Christian Bale. Okay, so plane ride, and then yeah, interviews. I can't really recall in the many interviews I've watched on YouTube of various actors, one by him. So like, yeah, when I get this feeling of media interaction, it's more just like the color is sort of like a very dark beige-ish, not like, it feels sort of like having to walk through mud rather than like, I love this. Like some actors are better in interviews than they are at acting, and I feel like Christian Bale might like prefer to not do a lot of interviews. Not that he's like bad at them or anything like that. It would just be like, I'd rather, if I were to choose between, doing my favorite sport or doing like 50 interviews in a weekend, the choice is clear. So it's really about him going like, okay, like what I need to sort of readjust my boundaries to suit what I truly want. And maybe, if my partners can't roll with that, like, am I just like arm candy, or like, why am I serving their needs, which might be above and beyond like basic needs? Like, basic needs are like get along, like we each do our part to survive, and we're not like bringing each other down, and like we've got a pillow and a mattress and a blanket and like some food in the fridge, like we're good, like, and then the extra stuff is like, I don't know if there's like a touch of bridezilla, like we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to fulfill my dreams, which are to be like, you know the wife of or the partner of someone famous who, and then I get this, that, at the expense of like authenticity, stuff like that. So just some like little bit of boundary adjustments. I feel like you might have a friend or like an acting coach who isn't like doesn't have the best advice. So like if in doubt, like if he had just like a little intuition that might have even seemed a bit childish, I would go with that rather than like somebody else telling you what to do. I don't know, I get like tightrope walker, like I get some like kind of, oh, what is that? Um, Yeah, maybe the tightrope walker is like when if he's doing a really good acting role, it's like he's walking that vibe, that intense vibe of like the personality he's giving in that role. And like what it takes some sense of control to walk that through the entire film. It's like on lock, like this vibe, and it takes energy to do that. And so like let's say you were someone who's like dating him and he's in the middle of a role and then decide to like really bring up an important subject to you at that time and like kind of mess with his focus, right? That would be like a bad idea. So it's like respecting his work. Like his work is like a high yield type of work. It's like a boxer. Like you're not gonna like when he's in the corner having a drink and getting wiped off. You're not gonna like come up behind him and go like, "Why don't you call me more?" Like, like he's working, but like the work schedule of a film can be over like months, right? So you'd have to like dear diary some of your uh, gripes like for later to respect his process. Like I don't know if there's like a scene in Raging Bull that would like summarize that well, but there might be. I get the feeling there might be. But it's like been too long since I've seen that. Okay, so Christian Bale. You know how like sometimes we choose partners who are lessons because like if they weren't attractive people who were like exactly what we want at the time, we wouldn't learn the lesson. So God has a cool way of going like, here, like, this is exactly what you need right now. But it's like you might be thinking like, oh well, this is the easy part of my life, so you know I'm living this five-star lifestyle. Why would I have a lesson come right now? Like, and from this beautiful person, like anyway. So it's kind of like that where and I can't name one romantic relationship I've had that hasn't been like a lesson. So it's like, why wouldn't they all be kind of like that? Um, so there's some aspect to him having boundaries and exerting what he truly needs right now, and like the what's forcing him to finally get to that point, which might be frustrating, is someone who's like stepping over some boundaries, and that doesn't make them a bad person. It's just like who they are with their narrative. You're you with your narrative, and like if someone isn't completely independent and secure in themselves, like they're going to want to borrow your energy or like have you fulfill some tasks to make you feel complete, like basically codependent. Um, so I feel like he's encountering some of that right now. And you just have to have faith that like, God loves you and like the world is good if we behave like properly. And then part of that is like really knowing yourself completely and what you need and what you have to offer and what you don't have to offer and what you need to make this fulfill this amazing destiny and like talent that you have and what helps it, what hurts it, stuff like that. Is that my phone? Yeah. Okay. Um Okay, Christian Bale. I'll try to wrap it up because I'm like talking a lot, and hopefully you're enjoying this. There's something about clothes. It's interesting. I don't know, I guess there maybe people, maybe designers are, like, being too pushy about, like, "Wear my clothes," like, "Wear my fashion line to this event," and he might sort of see, because he's older, he might sort of see, like, a pattern in, like, fashion and, like, the collars are big, they're skinny, there's stuff on them, there's not, there's, like, it's just kinda like he might like to design his own clothes, like, or just have a tailor just make something exactly to his liking. I'm not saying he's gonna sew his own clothes, but he'll, like, with his taste, like, choose what he wants to wear. So that might be another boundary. It's like, maybe I don't need to wear some designer thing to an event. So, because I feel like it might be imposing a style on him that isn't truly his, and that there's some kind of like, this might be a good time for him to fully be authentically himself after having given so much of his time and energy to other people and labels and this and that kind of thing. Anyway, it wouldn't be such a bad thing if a celebrity was promoting, people making having custom things made by a tailor that, you know, to support smaller businesses so there's less waste. Because, like, truly, if you could take, like, let's say you have 10 suits or something, if you could, like, just make 2 suits that are, like, so perfect on you, so flattering, exactly how you like them, and you'd happily reach for them. You need to wear a suit instead of just having, like, stuff that you, "Well, I sorta like this, but it's a bit like the shoulders are too," like, we need to not just complain, like, there's clothing waste being, happening, because that affects, like, the dyes in the clothes affect the water. There's, like, unfair labor. There's all kinds of, like, reasons to turn to custom-made clothes. Like, so instead of having, like, a jammed closet, you'd have, like, just some pieces you really love, and then when they wear out, you get another one made, or, like, whatever. If you're wealthy, you don't wait till it wears out, I guess. Um, so you would be kinda changing it up, like, changing up these sort of ceremony events where instead of, like, "Who are you wearing?" It's like, "My tailor, and you, like, worked on this, and I, sorry, worked on this together." You know what's so crazy? I was I was helping proofread my daughter's, English project. She goes to school in French, and so I can only help her with English, truly, and it's and her teacher had written "learned," like, with a T at the end, and I was just like, "What?" Like, anyway, it's like the American habit of, collapsing spelling. Is like there's that SNL skit where the woman's like making fun of the fact that there's a U in color, but it's like, dude, in the States there used to be a U in color until, fairly recently. So know that about the States. Because true, like if you didn't have the U in color, like I'm filming in Canada right now where we still have the U, like technically, in terms of pronunciation, color would be pronounced "kohler," like colon, Like, you need the "u" to tell you, like, "Oh, I'm gonna say the last O differently." in the first sorry, in the first oh, differently too. It's like my last name, Crapo, because like, if there's 2 vowels on either side of a consonant, the first one is long, so it's like it's not Crapo, it's Crapo, technically. So, yeah, so anyway, that's, like, tragic about spelling changing, but I guess, that's the thing. Anyway, so I forget what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, custom-made suits. So, it might be on one of Kristen Bale's things, like life lessons, life purpose things at this point, to be exerting more of like a tailored, if you will, life in terms of like how much he allows media intervention in his life, like, down to what he wears and what he's willing to do in an event situation. Because, like, personally, like, I'd be more interested in what people wore to the Academy Awards if they designed it themselves, rather than, like, trying to because like, actors aren't models, like, Christian Bale's kinda model-y, but, like, not all actors, like, can wear just, like, anything, and so it's kinda, like, weird for me to watch the red carpet because it's like, "Does that really look good on you?" Or, like, the Met Gala especially, it's, like, a lot of question marks popping up. It'd be cooler, like, if more people took part in the creation of things instead of just being consumers, everyone would be happier, more fulfilled, getting to know yourself better, what you like, through trial and error, rather than promoting some, like, mega corporation, um, who might not even have your best interests at heart. So it's like first you gotta love yourself, and then you take yourself out in the world and express yourself and like just only interact with the stuff that really is like on board with what you came here to do. Um, all right, Christian Bale. Something about flowers now. Let's look at that. I feel like he's the type of person who like even if you just gave him, like, 2 flowers, that's almost more meaningful than to have, like, a room full of flowers, like, he's into wait, I don't wanna just say random stuff, but let me look. Is he more of, like, a one-on-one kind of friend than, like, a brunch group of people type of person? It's like I'm a bit like that too, like, I don't mind being out and about, like, karaoke, like, in public or, like, just hanging out if it's pretty chill, but, like, I would find, like, brunch kind of intense, especially as people were drinking and they, like, got more loose with their talk and then you're kinda stuck there at the table with them, like, what are they even gonna say? Like, it's almost dangerous. So I kind of feel like he would enjoy more like a one-on-one or like a fewer people kind of situation. It's not against crowds, but like if you were what is my favorite way of interacting, it might be more just like he might be like really good to talk to because he's like a deep thinker or like has ideas that he'd like to discuss, and that's easier to do with one other person than like trying to fight for airtime with like 10 people or 4 people or something like that. There's something about the notion of marriage that's coming up. Like I'm kind of seeing this like long white wedding dress that goes like a lot longer than normal. It's like down, it's like kind of sculptural image I'm getting, like a painting. What would I say? Sculptural and painting. More like the column, the veil, like the train, rather than instead of it going like down on a floor type of thing. I'm sort of seeing a draping like down even longer than the length of the dress itself. Um, so it's sort of like he likes that, like he likes the romance of it and like some, but he like I'm gonna say he's not like a big wedding person. So I don't know if he's like single or married or it's like if he were to marry or like let me just look. I don't want to say just random stuff, but what is the energy? It's sort of like marriage or like a wedding ceremony would be like a very impactful, beautiful moment, very elegant, like no scrimping on the dress, like but it's not a poofy dress, it's like a more of a 1930s uh natural form silk rather satin kind of dress. Um and it's more just like the moment, like and so that doesn't necessarily mean it's not like a wedding in The Godfather. Um Sorry, I almost spoke French. I've been taking French lessons online, so like um, I should just speak English right now. So okay, what is this wedding stuff? So like again, it's this feeling of like my my loving, like my true love partnership needs to be someone who can just remain elegant and like be like a battery of love that doesn't have to be constantly recharged and reset and like encouraged and like it shouldn't be like a parental relationship of like babying them or like how are you doing, are you okay, like I haven't spoken to you in an hour and a half, like are you okay, like he really doesn't, that's not good for him. And if that's the case, like it would be better to not do that to like be just like we're married and I know we're married and that's meaningful because he wouldn't just randomly marry someone, so we're good to go and just like assume all is well unless you're told differently in like a very clear fashion instead of like being insecure about it or trying to like control things or doubt or like talk, discuss it too much. And at some point, like when do you have a peaceful life? Like we fell in love, we got married, we're living together, like can we be at peace now, like is that possible, or are we still negotiating something, like what are you actually looking for that you're trying to achieve that you haven't achieved yet that you're bothering me about? Like so like at some point, where's the success? And it would be nice if people could just start at success like from the gate. So it's like, I trust myself, I can fulfill my own needs, and I can still honor this beautiful thing that happened, because it's not every day you fall in love, right? Unless unless you're on Tinder. But like you know what I mean? Like it's actual love. So, like, and that should have some kind of timeless, faithful, self-generating, kind of vibe to it. It's not sucking you dry out of like life. All right, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up. Yeah, so it's really just this phase of him fully occupying his own space and not letting people encroach too much of like, yeah, you got to do this, you got to wear that, you got to like, and that might mean adjusting like who's your agent or manager who's not going to be bringing in excessive voices and like things for him to do, who like will respect his manner of working and living, so that it's exactly how it should be, so he can make like more amazing work and be truly himself in all matters of his existence. Yeah, so it's like a lot, but very interesting, and it's nice to connect with his energy 'cause he's like a very gifted actor, seems like an interesting person, and like from the very limited, like from the movie I watched, and the because I have kids, of course, I've watched Howl's Moving Castle countless times because like three kids of varying years, like also it's one of the few good animations. Like I like the animation Avatar and like a select number of Miyazaki movies and like the Barbie, some of the Barbie movies, like the early one, like Barbie, Barbie and the very first one was it like the it's like it's not a phoenix, but it's like a flying horse, Pegasus, the magic of Pegasus. I like that one because they're like really positive. Anyway, and also like um, the Misfit Unicorn, which you cannot find on YouTube. So somebody find that because it's good. Because who doesn't feel like a misfit unicorn, right? Like it pretty much. It's a good show. I don't know why it disappeared and why no one like kept a VHS of that lying around. So anyway, have a good day, and thank you for tuning in. And if you like, I don't know how computers work, but like if I had more subscribers, let's say we had 1,003 subscribers, then I would get advertising revenue from this, and it would be like a cool part-time job, and I'd make more videos. So if you subscribe or like make your entire Thanksgiving friendship family group subscribe, that would help me. All right, take care. Bye.